So I've always been someone who errs towards the analog side of things, but it seems like modeling technology isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and things like the Axe effects, the Line 6 Helix, and the Kempers are all getting really good. I even consider how much I've used things like the Universal Audio Fender Tweed plugin, which in my opinion is one of the best modeling plugins out there, in addition to some of the Neural DSP stuff. Ultimately, I just recently got a Kemper. Firstly, because if the situation comes up where I need to know how to use one, I can use one. But secondly, I'm really intrigued by the profiler side of things. I've dabbled in some impulse responses with cabinets and reverbs, so taking a snapshot of an amp sounds pretty cool to me. So I've had my Kemper for about 3 weeks now. Let me tell you what I think so far. Hey, what's up? My name's Danny McLaughlin and welcome back to my channel. If you didn't see last week's video, I checked out some beautiful and rare John Mayer signature Martin guitars with my buddy Chad. Check it out here if you haven't seen it yet. And if you haven't yet also, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. So I really had a hard time deciding which model I wanted to pick up, as the powered toaster or the rack mount unit definitely appeals to me, especially with the Kemper cabinet. But it also seemed like less of a reason to have a Kemper in the first place if I was going to be lugging what equated to be like a head, a cabinet, a pedal board, to every gig, in addition to my guitar. I really just like the idea of a simple floor unit, and so that's what sold me on the Kemper stage. From the get-go though, the stock profiles seemed pretty good. As I said, I was skeptical as to how much I'd be into profiling tech. I found a handful of stock profiles I liked and another handful of them from the Rig Exchange. But in even trying to put together these rigs into what Kemper calls like a performance, I was having a hard time liking my results. So ultimately I threw down for a couple commercial profiles. The unit I had purchased actually came with a few Michael Britt profiles, which I've seen on the forums as being some of the better ones. But then I literally bought all of the Tone Junkie profiles available, mainly because they had a Christmas deal running. I got all the profiles for $100. I also kind of had to get an old instructor of mine's pack. His name's Verheyen. He made a pack with Sweetwater at Sunset Sound in Hollywood using his own collection of legendary amps. That pack was $80. And while I really do like it, all the profiles come dry with no preset effects. And being this early on in my Kemper career has me a little lost with making the dry profiles sound as immediately awesome as the Tone Junkie stuff, where sometimes just a good sounding reverb and EQ preset make the profile sound right. But at this point with the profiles, the Kemper is starting to sound really good. I do think there's a period of time when you're getting used to hearing an amp sound without the airy response and feel of like an amp cabinet. Even with the Universal Audio aux, I keep the amp cabinet firing so I get the feel. But ultimately it's not the feel that totally matters, it's the sound. I want to compare one of the more common profiles I see, which is the Matchless HC-30. My Matchless, which is right behind me, is a 2019 HC-30r, meaning it's an amplifier head with a spring reverb. I'm going to try and tone match as closely as possible to a Tone Junkie profile, but in the future I'd like to try some comparisons between profiles I make myself. The Matchless is being recorded with a Universal Audio aux using a 212 cabinet with greenbacks. Alright, let's give this a shot comparing the Kemper to the Matchless. I dialed in a tone on each of them that is fairly similar in both spec and tone. So we're going to play a couple things. I'm playing a Gibson Les Paul. The Kemper profile that I'm using is the Tone Junkie Match C30HM, and I'm using the 1 and the 5, which are just varying levels of gain. They're both trying to emulate channel 2 on the Matchless, which is kind of the famous EF86 tube sound. So let's see how close it gets. I didn't dial in any reverb on either and no post-processing. Cool. So Gibson Les Paul, we got the Matchless C30, we got the Kemper profiler. Here we go. Neck pickup. Still on the neck pickup. Wow, I'm pretty surprised at how similar those sound. I really wanted to try and capture how the dynamics respond in the Kemper compared to like a real tube head. Obviously one factor, if you didn't notice, there was a little bit of noise happening with the tube head compared to the Kemper. That's one benefit of having a built-in noise gate too. To be perfectly honest, I'm surprised at how much I really like the Kemper, and how much I kind of underestimated it at first. So far, I've really enjoyed some of the Tone Junkie 2-Rock packs. I bought my unit used with a case for $1,500, and I feel like I got a decent value for the cost of it. But will it replace my amps in the future? That's yet to be seen. I could see my amps keeping a relatively permanent home here in the home studio though. What do you think about the Kemper though? Any profile packs I should check out? Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one.